button. Oh.
Good evening. It is December 20th, 2017. We are the Bitter Knitters. My name is Jacqueline. I'm here with Arthur.
You.
And Cynthia or Ryan, who's here today?
Cynthia Whitestone. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Cynthia Whitestone. Good to have you. This is our final episode before Christmas.
Yay.
Yay.
Yay. So Christmas is coming. What are you guys' plans? What are you doing?
Getting drunk.
Getting plowed.
Yeah.
Do you get drunk on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and Boxing Day, or do you just
Christmas Eve? Hammered fucking drunk.
Okay.
As a patriotic white woman of the South, we do not celebrate Boxing Day here. We only do Christmas. But for me, traditionally, it's always Christmas Eve, so the 24th.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of you on Christmas Eve, Ryan, and you've gone...
Shut up, Jacqueline.
Burnt, lit, crunk. I've seen you passed out on the floor one time in a picture at Christmas Eve.
Remember that I was very skinny back then. These were in the skinny days of Cynthia Whitestone. No, but yeah, celebrations typically for Filipinos. It's the 24th, and then the 25th is kind of like when you open prezzies and spend time with family.
Yeah.
So the 24th is when you make the rounds.
I've been drunk many times on Christmas Eve. The last few, because we don't have a big family party anymore. Like Scott's family used to always have a big family party. We don't do that. So a lot of times I might just have one or two. But this year, I think I told Scott I would drive home. So I think he'll be getting drunk and I'll be sober. So.
Yeah.
Yay, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, he drove many Christmas Eves too. So it's only fair that, finally I have my license and I drive. But we go to Scott's mom's on Christmas. She makes the food and she's a good cook. And
allegedly,
nice.
He has a license.
Allegedly, it's a fake license I bought off the black market.
I don't believe it anymore.
But now, do you have any traditions that you have to do, like stockings or opening a present on Christmas Eve or anything like that?
Getting my stockings ripped and getting pounded to the floor. But besides that...
Fuck's sakes.
Wow. that sounds beautiful, Ryan, and the
that
magic
turned
of
a
Christmas
corner
away.
so quickly.
No. I don't really... traditional Christmas, I think, has ended for me since I turned 15. So I don't know the idea of Christmas. That was 12 years. Oops. That was 5 years ago.
2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
We, growing up, we didn't get much of the year, but we always got a shitload of presents at Christmas. I mean, like 20 presents each, tons of presents. And so my dad and my mom would always let us open a present on Christmas Eve. Since my kids got bigger, I let them open their stockings or Santa sacks, because it's really a big, huge sack with crap, because they're big now, right? And, because they're pajamas, so they'll wear their pajamas to bed that night and stuff. So that's what we do here.
Is it Christmas-themed pajamas?
No. I wanted to get matching pajamas, but then I'd be like the fattest and look horrible in the picture. So I was like, forget it.
There's a trick, Jacqueline. There's a trick to that. I'll teach you the trick later off camera.
Okay. Spanx.
No, beyond Spanx.
Standing 10 feet behind everybody.
Well, it's the angle. You make sure that the camera angle is very, very far away and tilted all the way up. You basically look a shadow.
My family can't take a picture of me. Every time I tell them to take a picture, I say, don't include my stomach. Take from the boobs up. They never do. My whole fat gut's hanging out and everything. I'm like, can you people learn to take a picture?
You take what I call the catfish photo. It's basically clavicle up.
Fat girl angle?
Yes. You stick out the clavicles. You suck in
I don't
the
have
double
clavicles.
chin.
I don't think I ever did, even when I was a child. I think I'm missing that.
Well, I have clavicles, and so I just push them out and pretend I take the fat girl angle all the time. It's my favorite angle.
Any traditions for you, Arthur, besides getting drunk?
Yeah, get fucking completely hammered Christmas Eve, wake up early on Christmas morning, and fight a hangover.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I remember one year we went to Scott's family, and we were living with Scott's mom at the time. So we woke up Christmas morning and, did the thing right off. Scott got up after we opened all the presents, and he had to throw up, and he goes running, and he throws up, and he threw up on Amanda as a new present for her kid. Oh, Scott. Gotta love him. So I saw an article just before we started the call, so I thought I would talk about it. It's kind of these holiday truths and urban legends and stuff. Everybody says poinsettias are poisonous.
Yeah.
So this article on CTV, they're saying that that's fake story, fake news. It's the same plant that as a rubber plant, basically, and it produces latex. So that's what people get rashes from, because a lot of people are allergic to latex. But they said that there's never been a case, as far as they know of, that someone has died or had serious injury, and that 95% of people reporting poison from a poinsettia, zero required medical care, and that it's not poisonous to animals either. You might throw up if you eat it, but you're probably not going to die unless, I guess, you'd have to eat like tons and tons of the plant.
I'd imagine if you ate tons of any plant, you'd probably fucking get sick.
Yeah, exactly. So, get your poinsettias and put them out. Your cats aren't going to die if they eat it.
Huh.
But give it to them.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Arthur, you get drunk. Do you believe in hair of the dog?
What the fuck is that?
Where the next morning you drink some more to make it go away?
That's real. That's absolutely
real.
Well,
this article says it's not true.
Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. You drink and it releases, what is it, oxytocin or some bullshit, right? And that's what the hangover is. It's the absence of that. So I mean, you pound a few more beer, you feel great.
Well, he says because alcohol dehydrates you, right?
Yeah.
Drinking more alcohol is just going to dehydrate you more. So that's the reason why they say hair of the dog doesn't work. I know people who've sworn by it. My father always swore by it too.
Yeah.
I don't often get a hangover, neither does Scott. So I don't know.
I mean,
my best hangover cure is really just taking aspirin before you go to bed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And lots of water.
Yeah.
Before you go to sleep. And you'll wake up, that it's weird to explain the feeling, but it's almost like you are floating. You can never avoid that feeling when you've drank a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You just can't avoid that floating feeling, but you at least don't have that pounding headache, as I always say. You might get pounded, but you're not having a pound.
That's Ryan's cure for a hangover. Get pounded.
Get pounded.
So, and now I will never stop doing this. I don't care. Raw cookie dough. When I'm cooking, anything I'm cooking, cake batter, brownies, anything, I'm tasting that shit. It tastes delicious. And I don't care if I get E. coli. I'll take my chances. Sorry. But yeah, they're saying don't eat it because you'll get E. coli and possibly die. Whatever.
You know what also gives you E. coli? Eating ass.
Yeah, that's also not a holiday tradition in my family.
I don't do that either. I'm just saying.
What the fuck?
As a white woman, I don't do that.
Oh my god.
And finally, now, many people claim they get fat over the holiday.
Yes.
Or gain weight. Are you one of those people, Ryan? Do you think you gain weight over the holidays?
Always.
How much do you think you gain over the holidays?
15 to 20.
Oh my God,
That's
Ryan.
a given.
This guy is saying that the study found that the average person actually gains less than 1 pound and the most 2 pounds.
Well,
so unless you're eating like a whole turkey and 2 pies sitting, I think, you'll be okay.
Well, I think it's a mentality. Again, I haven't weighed myself in a very long time.
Yeah.
So to me, what seems like 20 pounds probably is like half a pound. And what seems like half a pound is probably really 20 pounds. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. And you two I think it's also too because in America you guys have Thanksgiving and then Christmas and then New Year's.
Close to one another.
It's so close. You are really spending a month eating holiday treats.
Oh, but it's all kind of drinking holidays as well. Yeah. Thanksgiving, you're getting lushed probably on wine or whatever.
Yeah.
Then Christmas is like the harder liquor.
Work party, get-togethers with friends. We're not even talking about the actual Christmas Day celebration. You're getting together with friends and doing stuff.
Yeah, holiday parties, exactly. Yeah, when I went out last Tuesday, I went to my holiday party. I had a total of 7 glasses of sangria. And I am not proud of it, but I downed that much alcohol without even knowing I was downing it.
Yeah.
So it gives you an idea of how much you really consume during the holidays. And then New Year's is an adult, that's adult
People
Christmas.
go crazy on New Year's sometimes, Yeah,
it's adult Christmas.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't own a scale either. I try not to look at the scale. I've been very bad the last few months. I haven't been walking much or swimming much, but definitely getting back on that. It's not a resolution because I don't believe in resolutions.
Yeah.
But I will get back on my walking and swimming and getting my heart healthy again.
I have a few
resolutions.
We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, we will. We won't talk about this week. Okay, so do you have a favorite Christmas song?
I mean, I'm particular to like when metal bands cover old songs, like that kind of shit,
Okay, like Silent Night or something?
Oh
Or-
yeah, it's a huge thing. But no, I can't say I have a favorite Christmas song.
G. Ryan?
I have two that I always that gives the feels. It's the Carpenters, "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" with my sister Karen, and the other one will always be "Oh Holy Night."
Sorry, people are texting me.
That's okay.
That's
Or
popular.
"Oh
I
Holy
love,
Night."
you know what, even though I'm not religious, I do love a lot of Christmas kind of religious songs. Like I love We Three Kings. I think that's a beautiful song. I love the way that
That's
it's kind of
again-
like this weird dramatic song. The music is kind of different than most Christmas songs. And but I love Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas by the Pretenders from the 80s.
Mhm.
And my all-time favorite, it's a song Scott and I share, and every year we share it with each other, is The Pogues, Fairy Tale of New York. It's kind of a weird song, but I think it represents a relationship really well. You know, the ups and the downs and, you know, the highs and the lows.
Mhm.
I love it. I love the line where he says, I have a feeling this year's for me and you. And I always send that to Scott because I always think this year's going to be a better year.
Well, but it's always a good year for you and your husband. Happy 40th anniversary.
Yes, happy 40th. Yes. So there's a song I think we all know that people are a lot more now, but I have heard people saying it for the last maybe 4 or 5 years. But this year, the year of Me Too, hashtag Me Too, people are really upset about it. Baby, it's cold outside.
Yeah.
Right? She wants to go home. She should leave. And he's saying it's cold outside. Maybe it's dangerous to drive. You should stay here and hang out with me all night. And she's, you know, they respond back to each other throughout the whole song.
Yeah.
Some people say it's just a fun, light song, but I will say this: when it was originally recorded in 1944, I guess the characters were set up, or the lyrics were set up as the man's part was wolf and the woman's part was labeled mouse.
Mm.
So even in 1944, they saw that it was predatory.
Yeah, absolutely.
I never liked the song, shockingly enough. I never liked the song because I always thought that there was something awkward about it. Maybe it's the whole answering each other thing. But I always did think growing up that 2 kids singing it was inappropriate.
Oh, absolutely.
Sing that song is creepy. What the heck?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's a catchy little tune.
Yeah.
Right? It's a catchy little tune on Christmas.
True.
It's kind of like Mariah Carey. It's, you know, All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Yeah.
I mean, am I going to go to the lengths and say, oh, it's so rapey? I don't know. But this was a song in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken, 40s, 50s probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 40s, 50s. I mean, that was an era where women were really looked at as an object.
Yeah, their possessions.
And when a woman said no,
it wasn't.
Men really did work hard to, I'm going to say it, I don't like to say the word. In their mind, they probably saw it as seduction. I can make, you know, no is yes. You know, I can turn that no into a yes. And the song definitely feels like that's what his attitude is, in my mind.
But then she's also kind of somewhat changing her mind, and then she's being lured in with a drink because there's a line that's like, maybe another drink, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and she also says, what's in this drink?
Yeah, well.
Right? So now I don't know if they had roofies back then, but they definitely had Valium and all kinds of shit.
Chloroform.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. Or just, you know, a triple. Or just a triple.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the thing is, a lot of... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go.
I think a lot of people don't realize back in those days, like back in that time, women were just... That's where the whole trophy wife comes to play, right? Like, you were kind of looked at as hard to get, as they would call it. Like, if you were... What we call hard to get nowadays, for them, was just like, oh, she's, you know, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And again, I'm not to instill this, nor am I accusing everybody of thinking this way. It was a very machismo time.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Extremely machismo time.
Man, right? It still is the era of man. But, you know, it's It's a kind of a creepy song. Like I could get him trying to talk her into staying, but some of the lines are worrying. Like she's like, you know, my father's gonna worry, my mother's gonna, you know, be upset, and he's just like, it's, you know, stay here, it's okay, it's too cold. No, just because it's cold outside doesn't mean she can't go home.
Girl, that's called Uba, honey.
Yeah. I don't know. It definitely wouldn't be a song that I snuggled up with my honey under the fireplace lights or anything like that.
You know, another song that I think is actually kind of creepy is a Christmas song.
Which
And I brought it up. All I Want for Christmas Is You. It's a little creepy sometimes. Like, that's stalkerish status. Like, bitch, you willing to give up gifts? I want a Birkin.
I think a lot of people would think that. I don't think that's weird. Did you see that it re-entered the top 100 this week? Like, that's crazy. Good for you, Mariah.
Yeah. Yes, Mariah.
That's all she's got going for herself. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it came in at 21. The song came out, what, 20 years ago? More? And it came back in at 21. That's pretty good.
Actually, 25 years. Yeah, that was 1994. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so good for her. I mean, she got something going on.
It is the most downloaded and recognizable contemporary Christmas music so far.
Yeah.
That we know of.
Yeah, well, and I was saying this too. I can't remember who I was saying it to. For a contemporary music song, that probably is my favorite kind of, you know, post 80s Christmas song, because you don't really get a lot of original Christmas music that sounds good.
Not anymore, yeah.
So
yeah, they don't do that fucking, you know, get every artist, like known artist in a room together and sing some fucking song anymore.
Yeah, I remember. Band-Aid, do they know it's Christmas? Yeah.
I remember she was talking about how she penned that, I think, in like 15 minutes.
That sounds about right.
She has some talent in her. She'd get off the champagne and, you know, stop acting like she's like a freaking goddess. Well, she lost weight because she got the stomach staple.
She needs to lose a little bit more.
But, yeah, I mean, she needs to come back to reality. She's a human being and, you know, start writing songs about stuff.
Well, Mariah and I, when we used to go out and party, I used to tell her all the time, Mariah, calm down. And she didn't listen.
Is that when you were both working as prostitutes before she was famous?
I was never a prostitute. I was never paid for my services.
Neither was Fair Abraham. Okay, so
what's
let's
that guy's name? The Canadian guy that does the Christmas shit all the time. The crooner guy. Fucking.
Oh,
Bublé.
Johnny?
Bublé, that's
Bublé.
it. Michael Bublé. Does he not write new Christmas music? Or does he just sing the same tired old fucking song?
I don't know. If he writes new music, I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I like
I know, like NSYNC made some new songs. I know that back in the day, New Kids on the Block did some new songs. I just don't enjoy most of them, you know?
Oh, I get it. I was just wondering. Like,
yeah,
once you said that.
I'm not sure, to be honest. If I heard it, I didn't like it. It didn't stick in my mind.
I like Bublé. I like the way that he, you know, sings and it's cool. I just think it's
I'm
trying
not really
too
a
hard,
fan of him. He's kind of smarmy, no?
I like that. I like a guy that looks like he'll just throw you to the side.
Well, that's what he did to his wife when he cheated on her. Anyway, so here's a little update. We don't need to spend too much time on it, but Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said yesterday that July 1st is not the day of cannabis emancipation. Sometime in July it will be, in the summer, but not July 1st. I guess because July 1st is a holiday in Canada.
Yeah, you can't have the government employees working then. Yeah,
so I'm assuming it'll probably be that week. I heard in another article that they're planning no later than the end of July. So it'll be July sometime, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, so plan your trip to Canada, your fucking pot tourism around
Exactly. Not the first. Try for the end. We do have a long weekend in August. So, you know, that's a great weekend to try to come up here.
I'm on my way.
You're on your way. Here's another little thing we'll talk about. We talked last week about the truckers. Remember we talked about that trucker who got that big ticket?
Yep.
And then we talked about how they have to have all these rules and regulations. Well, in Canada, the government has announced that all new trucks and buses sold in Canada by, I want to say the year, 2020, will be required to have crash avoidance technology.
Good.
Yeah. So electronic stability control and something that will help them with their logs. Remember we talked about people not doing their logs. It will make them, you know, complete their logs properly and stuff. And
good.
Keep us safer on the roads and keep them safer too.
Exactly.
We need less accidents. You know, if we can shoot people to the moon, we can keep people's logs.
Exactly. You know, we talked just about it before the call. We talked about the bus crash in Mexico, the Amtrak derailment yesterday. These things are still going on. Every week, every day, something's happening. So let's make it as safe as we possibly can. And if we've got technology that can make us safer, let's use it.
I just don't like the argument that self-driving stuff is the solution to this. I don't really like that. To me, it's
I'm a little
more
afraid
terrifying.
of self-driving.
Same here.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't mind the things that give you the warning.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you're about to crash, it can take over for a second and make you safer, but not a full on where you're just like leaning back and fucking watching, you know, the Santa Claus movie while your car is driving.
The other part of that too is, you know, we're so on the wagon of, you know, technology, but no one ever seems to think about like how that's going to affect the jobs.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not even the jobs, though. Like, yes, there was something I was watching. My buddy Daniel was showing me while I was in Germany about a guy who was on an airplane and hacked into the actual airplane itself through their Wi-Fi.
That's scary.
It's terrifying, right? So
that's really scary.
If that can happen, I mean, do you really trust like a self-driving big rig? Like
that's the scary thing. And I'm sure we talked about this on one of the shows about how, like, if somebody can hack into that, how long until they're making you crash your car while you're driving? You know, here I am, I'm the president of the United States or the Prime Minister of Canada or Angela Merkel, and somebody hacks into my vehicle and crashes me and kills me off a bridge I go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I don't like it.
Technology is great and stuff, but there's a limit to it for me. I don't try to make my world revolve around it. You know, like for example, like social media for me, the only one I really do use is Facebook.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't really have any other social media, and I just don't find the need to, you know, want to post something or whatever. Just like we had the conversation recently, right, about how I got that text. I woke up and it was somebody trying to change my password. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, what are you trying to hack? There's nothing in there.
I know.
Something for you to hack.
But the problem is they're maybe not getting information from you, but they'll hack all your friends list and maybe they have information.
Exactly.
Right?
True.
So, I mean, technology is great if it's keeping us safer, but we do have to be cautious and careful. You know, Arthur and I have talked many times about AI and how we're a little bit nervous about that. So
I don't like that either.
Yeah. Here's one. This is I don't know how long we'll talk about it, but we've been talking about the Saudis for months now.
Yeah.
We talked about how we knew that someone is going to try to kill the Saudi prince. We assumed it would come from the same country, but they're currently at a war with Yemen.
Yeah.
And the Saudis intercepted a Yemen rebel missile that tried to target the royal palace. They got it before it got there and hurt anybody in the palace. But I read in this article, which I wasn't aware of, apparently last month, they said they stopped a missile as well, but it didn't. It actually hit something, but they won't admit to that.
Huh.
The Saudis or the Yemenis?
The Yemenis hit something. The Saudis claim it never hit them. They said they intercepted it, but apparently it really did hit something in the city.
You're kicking a fucking bee's nest, though.
Yeah.
Because it's not just them you have to deal with. Yeah, they might be the most like militarily advanced people in that region, but you fuck with where the Americans' oil and a lot of their people are investing in. You know what I mean? They're going to come over with all their drones and everything. They're going to kick the shit out of you.
Yemen's in a lot of shit right now, too, because of this, because of the sanctions that they're facing. Yeah. They've got cholera. People are dying from cholera, diphtheria, all kinds of fucking disease. And that's just the disease. We're not talking about whatever bombs are going off, whatever fighting's happening, whatever terrorists are in there.
Yeah.
Lack of food, lack of clean water, possibly, lack of, you know, access to medicine.
A lot of stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're trying. Now these are the rebels. These aren't in direct retaliation of what Prince Mohammed is trying to do. But still, I mean, I'm sure this is just the first one or second one that we'll hear about, and we'll keep watching. We'll keep watching.
No, of course. I mean, it's like the most exciting show on fucking TV.
Yeah, you know what? It really is kind of exciting because, like, what's going on in Saudi Arabia is historic. We're watching history happen, right?
Where Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you guys want to talk about next? You want to talk about the website that claims it can hypnotize you? I think Ryan would like this.
Okay. Go ahead, please. Tell me.
So there's a website. It's claiming that it can erase your memories of TV shows that you've already watched so that you can watch them again unspoiled. So this is perfect for that show. Was that My Generation? Was that the show you liked?
No. Let's not bring up that still sour.
But you can forget about it, Ryan, and never be bitter about that anymore.
Well, you know what I really want to erase. Can it do that?
No, this is only for TV shows.
Oh, what the fuck? That's useless. I don't care. Over it.
Yeah, just done. Next.
Over it.
Now, do you think it's possible to self-hypnotize yourself that
Absolutely.
way?
I do believe in that. I think that the mind is a very powerful thing. If you believe in something enough, it will and it can happen.
Now, would you trust this website? What if it's like the Russians and they're trying to hypnotize you into becoming like a Russian, undercover agent? You don't even realize.
Just call me Salt, bitch.
Like the Manchurian candidate. What's it, Manchurian?
Yeah, Manchurian candidate.
Candidate. That was the word. Yeah. What if they're doing that?
Then call me Salt.
No, I don't trust hypnotists at all. I mean, I from what I've heard about it, you have to be susceptible to it. Like you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a cliche, kind of like Jedi thing, but you have to be fairly weak-minded for that shit to work on you.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it did, like, there's no telling what somebody could fucking convince you to end up doing. You know?
Yeah, it's
I
scary.
don't like that kind of stuff.
I know something that had happened to somebody. They got tricked.
Well, and you hear about in the 90s when everybody's talking about the satanic child abuse,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And how a lot of those people had false memories implanted in them by their therapists.
Yeah. But yeah, I know that kind of stuff can happen like online. Like just there's a thing I found out a little while ago called eye dosing. It has another name and I can't remember it, but essentially you just sit there with a pair of headphones on. It's a form of meditation, but you just listen to certain frequencies and it'll induce a high.
Oh,
yeah.
And I've done this. I sat here one day in the dark, lying on my couch, and I'm listening to this, and I did the whole thing, 15 minutes, eyes closed, made my mind blank, and opened my eyes, turned the thing off, and I stood up, and I was fucking looped. Like I was somewhere completely different than my living room. And that kind of led me to, I think this shit is possible online.
I can't shut my mind off. I think that's my issue for any of these things.
Yeah.
Because even when I've done yoga, I mean, now I've not done yoga for like years and years, like some of these people. But even when I've gone to yoga and they ask me to relax and close my eyes, my mind is whirling constantly.
Yeah. I start thinking about things I did 17 years ago that were really bad.
Yeah, so I find it really hard to just blank my mind. I give a lot of like I just can't even comprehend how somebody can do that, to be honest.
Although I do believe you can, not weak-minded, but I do think that if you find that blank space in your head and you focus on it, you can be. Like, right? Like, think about Heath Ledger in the role of the Joker.
Yeah.
And how intense that was. You have to have had tapped into something that was just not tapped.
Yeah, but that fucked him up beyond help. Look how bad.
But that's my point. Is it's like you think about how some things for some people just become so intense because they tap into it. They don't know how to come out of it sometimes. And I think that's part of that is being hypnotized. We joke around about dickmatized. I do think you can be easily hypnotized by something or anything. Really.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like when you watch these hypnotists, right? Even if they're on like, say Maury Povich or something, not everybody can be in on it.
No.
Somebody sells out a show every week in Vegas. Not everybody can be in on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember I one time tried to do astral projection.
Yeah.
So I was like laying in bed and I was staring at the one spot on the ceiling and I was trying to be and I just couldn't. I just kept, the mind's going, and I just could not stay calm enough to do it. I would love to try it again.
Are you a lucid dreamer?
I try. One time I was like, this is a dream.
Yeah.
Because I always say to myself, and you imagine your dream and what you want to dream about. So I would say it. And one time I was in the dream and I'm like, this is not possible. I have to be dreaming.
Yeah.
And as soon as I knew I was dreaming, I'm like, okay, I want this to happen. And I think it was like, try to buy some cotton candy or something.
Yeah.
And I started to do it. And then the dream immediately took over again and I couldn't control it.
It's hard. I've been a lucid dreamer probably since I was about 14. And
I just have dirty Robbie Williams dreams.
Like I can't control it. It just happens. Like I'm a lucid dreamer. So I started to look up astral projection and stuff like that. And I did it once.
Wow.
And I freaked myself the fuck out and I woke right up.
Yeah.
So the way that I was reading up on it essentially was you have to memorize everything around you before you go to sleep. And you just picture that and picture that and picture that and picture that. And again, it's kind of one of those meditation things where, you push everything out of your mind and you just start focusing on yourself lying down on your bed or your couch or wherever the fuck it is and everything else around you. And so I started doing that. And then all of a sudden, I was looking at myself sleeping and I fucking freaked out and I was awake. And I was so sad because, from some of the things I've heard of people doing this, it sounds a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like,
I
it sounds like a
did
good
one
time.
time I did it and I kind of started to feel that lightness.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I think I'm doing it. I freaked myself out. And yeah, exactly. Immediately stopped.
Yeah.
But
Well, as the new supreme of the coven,
yes.
I can do this like that.
Okay. Can you astral project here to come
Well,
clean up my
when I
house?
when I was younger, actually, I've had, and this was very scary. I remember this happened twice. I think I told you this story before, Jacqueline. I wasn't any.
Oh, but the hallway and the door and stuff?
Yes,
Yeah, I
I
remember
wasn't
that.
any older than 6 years old, and I remember specifically, like Arthur had said, seeing myself sleeping, and it was my family, and I floated all around the house, and this was in the Philippines. In our compound, there were 2 houses. Floating around and seeing everybody sleep, and I remember like falling from the floors and stuff like that. Like there was walls didn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the last thing I remember before waking up was the time. Like I'll just pretend what the time is. Let's say 10:58. I woke up. It was 10:58. It was the creepiest thing. It was so vivid.
We should all try to do it
vivid.
again. Make it our thing and then tell our results when, next show.
Yeah. I try, but I mean, you have to be in that right kind of
Yeah.
mindset to even attempt it.
Yeah. It's kind of freaky. Yeah. Because
Oh, it is.
letting yourself go, I guess, is weird. Yeah.
It's hard to let go. Okay.
It is. I think that's one of the reasons my mind's always going, because I always say I'm not a control freak, but when I really start to think about it, I do control a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Bitch.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's talk about that. That's kind of a neat little thing. So in June, there was a big story. I'm sure Ryan didn't seem to know it, but it was a big story about a woman who fatally shot her boyfriend. So she's pregnant. He's a YouTube guy. They're both YouTube guys. And he told her to shoot him. He had encyclopedias in front of his chest. And he said, it's going to be fine. I already did a practice round. It's not going to go through. Well, she fired it, and it went through it was a 50 caliber Desert Eagle. Isn't that like one of the most powerful guns?
That's a 45 caliber handgun.
Yeah, I don't understand that stuff. I just know Desert Eagle's a strong gun.
It's a big bullet.
And it killed him. And so she was arrested, and she was pregnant, and so she's pled guilty to second-degree manslaughter, which is obvious. You killed him.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll end up with some jail time, probably some probation. She's pregnant. She's got 2 young children, and she didn't go out of her way to kill him on purpose. So kind of stupid to do that.
That's a conflict for me, right? Because I don't think you should get off from your punishment because you're a dumbass.
Yeah. Oh, I see her. Sorry, her agreement. She has to serve 6 months in jail. So she'll get less than that because you get a fraction of your time.
Yeah. I don't know.
Isn't it like that they don't like the weekends actually count or something like that? I forgot.
I'm not sure. She's also prohibited from profiting off video. Okay. And would be barred for life for having a gun, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this in the U.S.?
Yeah. There's I want to say Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Now, can we do that to George Zimmerman? Maybe?
I mean, if anybody deserved that. Yeah, I mean, it's sad, though. I mean, she loved him. He was her fiancé. They were going to get married. And can you imagine she did that? I mean, death by dumbassness, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about this many times.
Terrible.
Can I just kind of say this? This is a recurring theme that I've been talking about for probably the last 9 months, Jacqueline.
Yeah.
With you. I hate it when somebody plays victim because of, I like that word that you guys use, dumbassness.
Yeah.
Like, that is your fault.
Oh, absolutely.
You
did
that. Like, if you believe within yourself, and I'm not saying this about her because she did plead guilty, but if you believe within yourself that you have no part in something and you clearly do, you're a moron.
You know couldn't convince me. I don't care if you had a flak jacket on. You could not convince me to shoot you.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
You point a gun at a human being and you pull that trigger. I mean, there's a good chance they're gonna fucking die. Like that's just common sense. Like it's so fucking stupid. There's even that thing. It wasn't not similar, but here a couple years ago with that young girl, where her boyfriend was fucking showing off his gun or whatever and shot her with it. Fucking killed the girl.
That's right.
And he got off. I mean, he didn't get off scot-free. He only got 5 years in jail because, again, it was involuntary manslaughter. But it's like, no. You had a fucking illegal handgun here.
Gun.
Yeah. and you fucking point it at a
You
human
want to show
being.
someone a gun, at least take out the fucking bullets,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know, there should be no leniency for
But
people.
it's like
and their
that kid
stupidity.
last week in England that almost killed himself because he stuck his head in a fucking bag filled with cement and put it in a microwave.
Yeah, I seen that fucking idiot.
Like,
But people, here's my thing, and I'm speaking from a lot of experience about this, right? And I think both of you guys know where I'm coming from when I say this, because I hate it when you always find these people who say, but, you know, blah, 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 but they asked for it, but this and that and blah. Okay, I get it. That's fine and dandy, and I'm not excusing the other party and their fault in that. But for you to fire a gun, you know what I mean, at someone,
yeah.
no one, and this is the terminology
make
that
you,
was used
yeah.
before. Yeah. No one can make you fire a gun.
No.
Yeah.
That is up to you. You know what I'm saying? This isn't a life or death situation where I said to Jacqueline, if you don't fire the gun, I'm going to shoot your daughter. Kind of a thing.
Yeah,
you know
that's a
what I
little
mean?
different. Exactly.
That's a little bit different. This is a situation where...
For YouTube likes.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. This is the problem with people trying to go viral or be YouTube stars or Vine stars before, whatever they're trying to do. You know, like, you have to have some common sense. Don't put yourself in danger for YouTube likes. Come on.
You're putting yourself in a situation where you feel like you want to do the right thing, but then you end up doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this is, girl, I'm not gonna, she's controlling herself, but I hate that. And that's ultimately like this woman, you shouldn't be excused for it. Now, do I think you should be in jail for 15 years? I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge.
Well, and she said here, I'm reading this article, and hours before this event happened, she tweeted, "Me and Pedro are probably going to shoot one of the most dangerous videos ever. His idea, not mine." She knew it was dangerous.
And she still went through with it.
She still went through with it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to feel sympathy at that point.
Yeah.
It really. It's
I
like,
don't feel that sorry. I feel sorry for her kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
But it's like that guy in I don't know. I can't remember if it was China or Japan. The rooftopper that just fell off the roof.
Yes, he just died in China, I believe, right? Yeah.
How am I supposed to feel bad about this?
I don't feel
You know,
bad.
you're trying to do pull-ups on the side of a fucking, you know, however, I think it was like 60-story tall building,
64
but you
stories,
can't even do
yeah.
a fucking pull-up. So
Yeah,
how
that'd
the
be
fuck,
like me trying to do that.
you know what I mean? Like, so how am I supposed to feel bad? Like, I feel sad for his family. I feel sad that the guy died, but there's your Darwin Award, you fucking idiot.
And it's sad. It's more sad that because he was trying to raise money for his wedding.
Yeah.
That's how he supported himself.
Yeah.
He couldn't make money as a regular job, I guess, or what he thought he couldn't. So he was trying to make money that way. And it's sad that you have to put yourself in danger like that
Yeah.
to get viral videos to make money. That's sad to me. But it's not sad that he did it because you know what? I've been in places in my life where I was dirt poor, you know, and I never put myself at risk to make money.
I've been in situations like, you know, currently in my life right now where I want to say, oh, let me blah, but I put myself in that situation and I really think hard and deep. And the answer is, that's, you know, kind of like what Meatloaf says, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. Like, it's like, I won't do that. Like,
But he never says
won't.
what that is.
Yeah, well, for me, it's like, I probably would never fucking do pull-ups or push-ups on a the side of a
Side of a building.
No,
Just the
exactly.
same as you wouldn't point a loaded gun at somebody and not expect them
Especially
to
the person
fucking
you love
die.
the most in the world.
Yeah, like that's
Especially
just
the person you love the
so
most in the world. That's
ridiculous.
crazy.
It's
Yeah.
so
there's a
ridiculous.
stupidity to it that's just unfathomable.
Yup.
Unfathomable. It's beyond.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. Like, is anybody with a, you know, a proper working fucking brain can't even begin to understand why you would point a loaded fucking gun at somebody and pull the trigger, unless you're at war or you're fucking like defending your life.
Exactly.
It's not something you do. Like, that's just
Yeah.
not something you do. You don't fucking point a loaded gun at a human and pull the trigger and not expect them to get shot. And what's the
Exactly.
consequences of being shot? Most of the time, it's death. Like,
Well, and it's
fuck's
not even
sakes.
like
Yeah.
you don't know what happens when you shoot a gun at somebody.
Exactly.
You know, we all know if you get shot, you know,
You
a
get
big hole
hurt.
is forming in your body.
Right? Like, and you're talking a 45 caliber bullet, so like the entry hole, yeah, it's going to be about the size of a quarter, but the exit wound is going to be the size of like just over a softball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no surviving that. Like, you take that in the fucking chest, it's pushing your organs out of your back.
It's probably blowing your freaking heart rate out of your body.
And that's exactly it. You know, it's ridiculous that anybody would think that's a good fucking idea. And I see videos like this all the time on the internet. You know, I've talked before about how I'm weird and I like gore and shit like that.
Yeah, you have.
And, you know, there's like a tradition in the Middle East where like they fire guns off at weddings. And I watched a man give his little fucking girl, and this girl must have been 2 or 3 years old, a fucking loaded handgun. And she blew his fucking brains out right there at the wedding.
Fuck.
Like, what the fuck, people? They're guns. Yeah. Like, they're fucking guns. They're instruments of death. They're not fucking party crackers.
Toddlers for
right?
A reason,
like, this isn't fucking New Year's. They're not party crackers.
The babies that taken the gun out in the Walmart and shot the mom, or the kid in the back of the car that shot the grandma in the back of the head because it was in the purse. Like, you know.
And it sucks because it's like this always comes into like a gun control debate, which, you know, whatever. That is what it is.
Part of it, but it's common sense too.
But exactly, the common sense aspect to me that really fucking just kind of blows my mind.
If you're gonna have a gun and you have kids in your house, let's make sure the gun is always unloaded and the bullets are out of reach and the gun is put somewhere safe.
But
you know.
This is why I think a lot of us get so annoyed when we hear stories like this because it's not about gun control. Yeah, like me having a gun out in the open is just dumb. In any situation, that's just very, very dumb. You know, it's not that the gun will shoot the person, it's that the wrong hands will shoot the gun at the right
and you
person.
leave it open to anybody picking up the gun. You have a little niece that lives in your house, right? Kids are curious. They're going to pick it up and they're going to hold it and they're going to examine it and suddenly their head's gone, you know?
Okay. Even to the less extreme of stuff, right? I had mentioned earlier before we got on the call, well, before we went live, I had just bought the new iPhone, right? And this is famous. They do this every year, not just with iPhones. They do this with all the phones, right? And now that these phones are getting more and more prettier, like they're made out of glass or whatever, people like to do what's called drop tests.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
And people get upset that a phone breaks.
You just spent $1,000 on a phone. Don't drop it, stupid.
Well, no. They do it on purpose.
I know. That's what I'm saying, though. Don't do that.
And they do it from the top of their house. You're surprised that it broke from the top
phone? Yeah, maybe if you were sitting in a chair and you dropped your phone, it might survive. But it's not going to survive 10 stories or a story.
Yeah. If you drop it from, like, let's say your wallet, your pocket.
Yeah, as you're walking. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But, like, the house? What the fuck kind
People
of...
are dumb. People are so dumb.
Oh, yeah. They really
let me just say, this is something that I complain about. So at my work, No Frills, it's known for having really good shopping bags, right? Strong plastic shopping bags. And people have the nerve to say that our bags are going to crap. And I'm like, no, they're still good. And they're like, well, look, it's breaking. I'm like, it can't hold 50 pounds of groceries. You can't put all your shopping into one bag. You know, have some, and I can't say have some common sense, dummy, which is what I want to say. I'm just like, well, it's not designed to hold that much weight.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I think people sometimes just like to push to the limit, and they think the limit is 300 pounds. I can put 400 here. What's an extra 100 or whatever the case is? And they think it's supposed to withhold.
Yeah.
If you push the limits, right, one of these days, something is going to happen, and you're not going to like the result of it.
Here's my default for bags. People ask me how much bags they need because they don't know. I always say one bag per $10, unless you're buying something like roasts, right? Something super heavy or something really small. But if you're buying like normal grocery cans and boxes and, you know, produce, $10 per bag is usually pretty good. There you go.
There you go.
So let's move on. This is a very sorry. Hold on. You guys talk amongst yourselves for a second. I have to mute.
Oh, fucking hell.
Well,
you guys are so unprofessional.
Well, since she pretend she's not there. Since she's not there, the murder.
Okay, so let's talk about this story before we go.
Right.
This one is not. When I talk about this story, I just want people to know I'm not any anti-breed. Okay, any anti-breed dog. Yeah. This is a story about a girl in Virginia, 22 years old, Bethany Stevens. She was found the other day with her 2 dogs. They're calling them pit bulls. I don't know if they are.
I've seen the pictures. They're staffies. They're not even.
That's what I was reading from the comments, but I don't know enough, so I didn't say. But she was being devoured by her dogs. When the police found her, they were literally eating her rib cage.
Yeah.
They claim the dogs killed her, that they mauled her and then ate her. The dogs recently had moved from her house because she was going through divorce. She couldn't take care of them in her where she was living, to her father's property, and they weren't living inside anymore. They were in cages outside or kennels outside, and she came maybe 5 times a week to take care of them, and the father didn't do anything to help them at all. So I guess the theory is that they, it was too stressful for them and they didn't get enough food or something set them off, and that's when they attacked. The reason I want to talk about this story is because there's her friends or people that are on the media saying that these dogs couldn't have done it, that they were probably protecting her body from the bear or the mountain lion that attacked her, is what they're saying. Or she was murdered by somebody else and the dogs were protecting her.
Okay.
I'm not saying let's get rid of pit bulls, because I know some pit bulls and they're sweethearts of dogs.
Yep.
I do think that when you put a dog through some stress like this, you're definitely putting it into a dangerous situation. You're talking about a very strong dog with a very strong bite. And when you got 2 of them now, they're much stronger. I can fight off a Chihuahua. I couldn't fight off my dog Clover. If Clover wanted to attack me, I couldn't fight her off. She's big and she's strong, right? But let's face it, we do know that pit bulls or these types of terriers do account for a lot of these things. So people need to raise them properly and take care of them properly.
Well, it's piss poor ownership. It's people that don't understand the breed of the fucking dog. It's the same reason why I ended up with the Cali girl, my Rottweiler. Yeah. It's not that the Rottweiler as a breed is an abhorrent fucking dog breed. It's the person that bought the dog was a fucking idiot and had no idea how to deal with a dog that is that powerful, that pig-headed. It's the same with pit bulls. My parents owned a beautiful fucking friendly pit bull trucker. Trucker was such a great fucking dog. And they pretty much, I can't say they fled Ontario due to the BSL, the breed specific legislation, but I know that was a huge factor for my father. My father was not going to live in a place that forced him to neuter his dog, that forced him to muzzle his fucking dog because other people are fucking idiots.
Yeah. I've never seen a pit bull with a muzzle on its face in Toronto. I'll just say that.
No, me neither. And it aggravates me. It absolutely aggravates me because I've even had people, walking my girl down the street and they pick their fucking kids up and they're like, "Oh no, that's a vicious dog. That's a vicious dog." Like, how? Why? Yeah. What makes you think this is a vicious fucking dog? Because you're an idiot? Because you don't know how to act around a fucking dog like this?
People run from my dogs.
Yeah, it's just, I've been very staunchly against any type of BSL ever since it was first introduced here, because I'm pretty sure Ontario was like one of the first places in North America.
I think it was the first place in the world. Yeah, in the world.
Ever have any type of breed-specific legislation, and I am staunchly against it. I have only once encountered a pit bull that was a problematic dog, and when you looked at the owners of that dog, you could absolutely understand why that dog was a fucking problem. My parents, that pit bull was fucking great. He was such a
this is dog. The problem with pit bulls or these staffies, right? You got people who don't know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They're taking because they think it's a tough dog and they're going to look tough or whatever the reasons behind it. And they're not raising them properly.
No.
They have no experience or whatever, right? And they're making these dogs dangerous weapons.
Yep.
And any dog will bite. Let's face it. I've been bit by a freaking little Yorkshire Terrier, right? I've never been bit by any other animal, but I've seen other dogs. I've seen beagles bite people. I've seen Cocker Spaniels bite people. I've seen German Shepherds. Any dog will bite if it's scared or it's aggressive or whatever its reasons are. But if you're getting a dog that's super strong and you can't control it, you're literally holding a loaded weapon. Right? At some point, that dog's sending you signals, and if you don't listen to the signals, it's going to attack someone, and that's the scary part.
Well, my old dog, because I never see him, he was such a sweetie, right? He really was.
Oh, Casper? Or your other one?
No, the other one.
I was say Casper was evil.
Casper was an evil dog. But the other one, which name I'm not going to mention, he's a Frenchie. And, oh my God, he was just a sweetheart, right? But I saw people literally, and I swear to God, there was one day I was so stressed out from work, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong for doing this. This lady, she's not old, crossed the street, scared of this damn dog that doesn't even bark. The dog doesn't even bark, right? The dog is not a guard dog by any means. This dog is small. And I said, "Are you fucking stupid?"
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to attack you.
But you gotta remember, some people come from countries where dogs run wild and do attack you.
I was just gonna bring that up. If said
true,
person was Muslim, because they
You
do
told me that
believe
when you were
dogs
chased
are
by dogs
filthy.
in Philippines.
Oh yeah, in the Philippines,
right?
yeah. I mean,
You were chased by dogs, right?
Yeah, it's called an askel. It's askel is aso, and then kalye meaning street, and then aso dog, but street dog basically.
Street dog. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the Philippines, we have a lot of those. But this was a dog and the leash was very tight.
Yeah.
It's the retractable ones. He was very close to me because he had a terrible thing with just picking up whatever he wanted to pick up.
Yeah.
And it annoyed me because he, my dog, he was a sweetheart. He still is very much a sweetheart. And I hated that people reacted like that because it gave a connotation that I hated about dogs. Like, I'm a dog lover. As allergic as I was to any dog I've ever had in my life, assured them to the thing. I got annoyed when they would
it doesn't make sense. But some people, I mean, like, think about it. If you see a spider and you're afraid of spiders, it doesn't matter how big or small it is, you're going to be afraid. I understand why people are afraid of dogs, even little dogs. I understand why people are afraid. But I'm just annoyed by this, that people that are, whether it's her friends or people that are, the pro pit bull community, are trying to make excuses. Let's face the fact that this happened, right? They're going to do an autopsy. They're probably going to find her flesh inside the animal's stomachs. They're going to match up the teeth marks. We're going to find out that these dogs most likely did it. And they've already been destroyed, sadly. But I mean, once you've killed a person, you're not safe to be.
Prove that the dogs killed her, not that the fact that she had died a few days beforehand and the dogs were hungry and ate the fucking
Well, that's
meat.
what we're gonna have to find out.
Are we gonna fucking ban old ladies' cats for doing the same fucking thing?
No, and that's the thing. You didn't ban an animal because somebody died and they ate her. But if these dogs truly killed her, right? Yeah. We can't make excuses and find conspiracy theories because you're trying to protect the breed. And I get you're trying to protect the breed. I understand and I know why you're doing it, right? But you also have to be reasonable and have your eyes open and see the truth when the truth does come out. If it comes out that way.
I agree. I agree. I think people are just... You don't really find a lot of middle ground anymore. I think Arthur and I were somewhat talking about this while back about another topic. You don't find a lot of middle ground anymore. You're either ASPCA completely or you are against it.
Yeah.
You don't find people who just aren't bothered by things. Like, I used to date a guy who literally had 5 dogs at a time. And I loved all of them. Like, again, he had like fat dogs. Like, he had like Frenchies and English bulldogs. But he was telling me, he was like, the guy that he was dating prior just couldn't stand it. And he's like, you can't find a person who has a middle ground with, what they think of something. I guess like indifference is the word I'm trying to use. And that's where my annoyance comes from. And this is why I think a lot of people are polar opposites a lot of the time now, because you're either against it or you're for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's hard to find a middle ground because people don't seem to want to compromise.
Yeah, it's true.
In any kind of situation, like in this, for me, what Arthur said, try to prove that she was killed by the dogs and not...
Well, they're doing an examination. They'll do an autopsy, and they'll find out how she died. But I mean, like, a mountain lion is not going to eat a body and leave it there. It's going to take it away.
Leave it there, exactly.
You'd be surprised.
I always know that they get dragged. Yeah.
You would be surprised.
Yeah. Usually they take it away. But I mean, like, people are saying in the context, well, why would the dogs stay there? If they killed her, they'd run away. I'm like, no, if that's food, they're going to eat their food.
Exactly.
Like, don't be stupid. I don't know if they killed her yet. I really don't. I'm leaning towards they did. They had an extremely amount of stressor suddenly upon them, right? They went from being babies that slept in a bed with her to suddenly outdoors with only themselves most of the time.
In a cage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They lived in her house. They were her babies. And they're outside in a kennel and only seeing her, maybe a couple hours a day for 5 times a week, right? That's even the dad basically said, I didn't do anything with them. They were just left there. Yeah. So that's a huge amount of anxiety and stress on a dog that I wouldn't be surprised if that changed their mentality, right?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just because I know this will spark the debate again, and
it always will.
It's
Every
a debate that
happens,
pisses me off. There's a lady in Montreal not that long ago that was mauled by a pit bull, and now Montreal has now introduced a BSL, and it just aggravates.
They're taking that out again, aren't they? The new mares, they're getting rid of it.
I believe so, because it's. I equate it to like even 45 is like Muslim ban and shit like that.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
make such a blanket fucking statement. You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
say, oh, this one incident happened, all of them are bad. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's not
Exactly.
a real
But
world thing.
I absolutely abhor that. A lot
Yeah.
of people use, and it's, oh my God, Jacqueline, please don't be offended by this, but a lot of older people do this.
Fuck
It's
off.
so stupid. No. I'm so serious. I find that the older generation does that. The whole kind of blanket statement. I'm not saying this about Jacqueline. I'm saying that because, I was going to say older. But a lot of people do this.
So,
I didn't do
I'm going
it.
to tell your real age right now.
No, Jacqueline, don't do it.
And your real weight.
Oh, no, you bitch.
But no, it's
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
You're
no,
absolutely
I
right.
agree. I agree. You shouldn't.
if you ever, I mean, they don't really do the marches in Ontario anymore about the BSL, but when you were looking at the marches about the BSL, it was all tiny little old women out there bitching. They're all bad. They're all bad. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
You know, there's one of the only memes I've ever seen that ever had any kind of truth to it. It was like in the 70s it was the German Shepherds, or in the 80s it was German Shepherds, in the 90s it was the Rottweilers, in the 2000s it was the Pitbulls. And when you go back, I mean, it's the absolute truth.
But I really
Yeah.
feel like it's been pit bulls since the 90s, 2000s,
Yeah.
2000s, and 10s.
Yeah.
They really have, and it's since the media and the internet really have
Yeah.
kind of hyped that up more because
Like,
they can
I'm
now
probably misquoting it.
report. I know it's like the same thing, but you're right. I remember people were afraid of Dobermans in the 70s.
Yeah.
People were afraid of German Shepherds and Rottweilers. But I really feel like out of all the breeds, they have been, targeting pit bulls since the 90s.
Like, think about someone like even Michael Vick, who had trained the breed to,
That was
do
sick when he
dog
did that.
fighting. Yeah. Some people just, but I mean, you also think
But those
about.
dogs were rehabilitated and went to homes.
I was just
Yeah.
going to say
That's
that.
the thing, with
And
the
they're
right
great
owner.
family dogs now.
With the right owner,
Well,
you have to know what you do. See, the thing is, if you want to own a dog like that, you need to know what you're doing. You need to
There
be,
it is.
and you need to know your dog. My dogs are not considered vicious breed dogs, right?
No.
But let me tell you, I don't leave my dogs alone with
Yeah.
children,
No.
right? I watch my dogs when we're in large groups or with other dogs because I know what my dogs are like. They don't
Yeah.
like other dogs that much, right? And I'm watching them for signs. If my dog growls, I'm telling you, leave her alone. She doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I hear you. I mean, being
But it's-
the owner of a very large, potentially dangerous dog, it's the same thing. And not
Yeah.
to say that my girl is dangerous,
my
but
gosh.
there's always
Maybe
a fucking
drowning you in kisses.
Oh yeah, no, she's a fucking ham like that. But you know what I mean? There's always that
Yeah.
potential.
You never know.
You know.
You never know with any dog. Any dog can go off at any time because if they can't communicate to you to stop,
Yeah,
they're going to do it with their teeth at some point.
exactly. It's all they have. I kind of lucked out where my father is how he is. So I grew up with nothing but like Chow Shepherd mixed dogs and pit bulls, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So he really taught me about how to be appropriate with your breed and how to understand the dog, and that you can't let people's fears kind of dictate that kind of stuff, right? So now, I have this fucking gorgeous fucking Rottweiler that I absolutely love to
Well,
death.
that's
And
it.
I'm
I have a black
constantly-
dog and people run for it. They think it's a
Yeah.
devil dog, right?
Oh yeah.
Fucking baby.
There's this one woman on my fucking street, and every time I walk the dog, I'll hear, "Oh my God, that's a vicious dog. Oh my God, your dog is vicious." And it's like, where are you getting this? Like, you're an idiot. You're just perpetuating bullshit.
Well, but you think about like where an English bulldog came from in the history of it, right? And how vicious they were, that they were actually banned from the streets of Rome until they were bred to be these smaller, calmer breed.
Well, every breed had a job. Right?
Yeah, every breed.
Terriers
they
are
all
rat
had a
dogs,
job.
right? Or
Yeah.
rabbit hunting. My dog is a duck dog, right? Dingo is a herding dog. She jams her nose into my leg whenever I'm going to let her outside. She runs behind me and jams her nose to hurry me along. Right?
Yeah.
That's their jobs. So yeah, a dog that's bred to be a fighting dog or a hunting dog, you have to watch. You have to be the alpha.
That's why people don't understand why so many poodles bite people, which is
Yeah.
fucking hilarious to me, because poodles actually do represent the most of dog bites, like anywhere in the world that are ever reported, because they're fucking hunting dogs. People
Yeah.
look at them as these big froofy fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're not. They're dicks.
It's still a fucking wolf's cousin, you know?
Exactly. They're dicks. Fucking poodles. I can't stand them.
I love them. Them and
Yeah.
Frenchies and English bulldogs are my
Oh, my mom's got a little poodle who's a sweetheart, but these big poodles, they're a little scary. The standards?
But that's the funny thing too, though, is like, out of all the dogs that I had growing up, my father had, and again, they're Chow Shepherd mixes, and Chow Chows are, again, another dog that people are like, oh, they're mean, they're big, they're, whatever.
Oh, they're so sweet.
It was our fucking Pomeranian you had to watch out for. That dog was a
She was half blind
dick.
and she was 100
That
years
dog,
old.
fuck that. Before that dog went downhill, she was a fucking dick. That dog would bite you for any fucking
She
reason.
bit my son many times.
She used to bite. That dog fucking loved me to death and would still bite the fuck out of me. You know what I mean? But the pit bull, nothing. The chow shepherds, nothing. You know what I mean? Even when Dad, he adopted a pit bull, a problem pit bull when we were living in Scarborough. Same thing. The dog had issues. It came from an abused home. It was you didn't have to worry about that fucking dog. You know, it's I can't stand that kind of stuff. And I know that because of this, and I've actually seen a few of it, like a few arguments floating around online due to this. You know, I have to hear about this BSL shit again, and it really does, like, it boils my fucking blood. But that's just because of personal experience. I've been around these dogs. I know how great they are.
Yeah.
You know, I know the potential they have to be phenomenal family pets.
Let's just use our common sense with pets, okay? If you beat a dog constantly, you're going to make a weird dog. If you train a dog to do aggressive things, it's going to be aggressive. Don't leave. I don't care if you have a Chihuahua or a teacup poodle or whatever kind of dog you have. Don't leave it alone with your fucking toddlers, okay?
You know.
Don't do it.
And that right there is similar to the reason why I ended up with the Cali girl. The girl that bought the dog was moving to Toronto, so she wanted something that would protect her. Okay, that's fair. I get that. You know, but she was a dumbass and read up on how to make a guard dog. So essentially what you do is you starve it for all human attention. Now that dog will fucking pretty much bite and fight anything that fucking comes close to it.
No.
Yeah. So at fucking 6 months old, this dog was a fucking just abhorrent fucking mess of an animal. Like she was maybe a month from being put down.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She's so sweet.
It took a lot of work. It took a lot of work for me and Liz to get her to where she's at right now.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm happy we did because she's a phenomenal fucking puppy. But like, it's exactly that. If you don't know what you're doing, if you know, just don't get a
strong
animal.
breed. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, okay, if you're gonna get a dog and you can't control it, start with something small that at least you can you know, subdue if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Go from there at least, and then work your way up. Or read up on it. There's lots of ways to how to treat your dog and read for their body language and stuff.
If you're going to get a dog that has the potential to really hurt a person, and this has always been my advice, don't get the fucking runt. And I tried to explain this to the girl that bought my dog before she was given to me, because they went out and got the fucking runt, thinking that the runt is easier to control.
No, it's had to
dog,
fight for
exactly.
so long.
That dog has grown up fighting for the tit. That dog is so ready to fucking throw down.
Yeah.
So any little grievance that dog has, its first instinct is to get into fucking defend itself.
Although I will say your Nan's dog Jim was the runt.
Yeah, but again though, he was like a chocolate lab or some shit, like some mutt like that.
That was the muddiest mutt ever, because I remember the girl she was one of my friends, her dog, that was the mother. She was already a mixed speckled, spotted dog. So
but you know, when it comes to mutts and stuff like that, yeah, that's absolutely fine and it makes sense. But when you're talking purebred dogs, and especially dogs that have the history of being strong or maybe even historically used for fighting, don't get the runt. Don't do it, especially if you're an inexperienced dog owner.
Yeah.
You know, so many people.
And if you're getting a strong dog and you don't know what you're doing, there's nothing wrong with going to take obedience classes and stuff so you both learn stuff. You know?
Yeah. Well, they did that with the Cali girl and it didn't fucking work.
Well, that girl sounds like her.
But she was an idiot. She was a fucking idiot, like an absolute idiot.
Sorry if you're listening, but you're a dumbass.
Fuck her. I've told her this many times to her face. But like I said, I ended up with a fucking great puppy out of the deal. So, I mean, you want to buy another dog you can't control, let me know.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. Let me tell you, that dog washed my legs for me.
Oh, yeah, she did.
my dog was just, he was spoiled out of his fucking mind. So, like, I have the complete opposite thing with what people do. I treated my dog like he was, like, I remember he got so sick and I was crying and we were in the car. We were driving him all the way to Long Island to the vet over there. There was 24 hours. And I was, because he was thirsty, sucking the ice chips to melt it.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay, sorry. Do not try this at home, kids. And you know what the doctor said? He's fine.
Yeah.
He just wanted attention.
Yeah.
Because, that was a $600 attention bill. But
I saw the YouTube video of the dog faking sick. to work, and the parents stayed home with the dog to take care of it, and then it was
for like 3 days.
Tried it the next couple of days. Yeah, dogs are smart, man.
Oh yeah, they are.
Our dog had a package for every month coming in. It was a chew box or chewy box or whatever it's called. And it was with toys and had themes. He even got a Christmas present. You know what I got for Christmas? Nothing.
Yeah, your dog had you fucking worked, bud.
Oh, I got Christmas presents too.
I loved. We wiped his butt after he pooped.
Oh, that's too far.
He was.
Yeah, that's a little too much.
But I loved him. And this is, like I always tell people, I love dogs. And to me, like when people say, "Oh, my animals don't go on furniture," next to me, I want him snorting in my face.
Our dogs sleep in our bed.
Yeah,
okay,
I love that.
Right now, the dog is laying on my spot like she is me.
I won't let the dog in my bed, but we definitely bought a sofa set so the dog can have her own chair.
Yeah.
But that is what
fair.
it is.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But you gotta have a love for animals to appreciate the breed and everything. Like I love German Shepherds. I grew up with German Shepherds my whole life and Dalmatians, and they were always very good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it really is how you raise them. So we'll wrap it up. I just want to tell people, I hope you all enjoy your Christmas, and you should.
Yes.
Right, if you can. But think about the people that are in old age homes that have nobody to visit them, or they're alone because they don't have any family and they're sitting in their apartments by themselves, or they're in the hospital, or they're waiting for their family, or somebody who's just passed away. Arthur mentioned his family.
My friend, yeah.
Yeah, his friend just lost a family member. So it's really sad, and we should think about other people, that on the Christmas morning when you're ripping into your presents, send out a prayer if you're religious, or some good karma out there for the people that are, maybe not quite as happy as you are.
Can I just piggyback off of that?
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I do this every year. I don't like to talk about what I do, like in terms of charity, but it really meant a lot to me this year to be able to give gifts. And I had spoken to my family, and I had said specifically, no one's getting gifts. I want to donate a bunch of toys. So I had saved up.
That's the nice thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I put away each paycheck about $100. So I had a significant amount of money to give for toys. I bought a lot of toys
or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was my favorite thing, and I'm actually planning this year because the holidays fall on Monday, right? Or not the holidays, but Christmas falls on a Monday this year.
Yeah.
To go to like a hospital and children's wing, just giving plushies. If you guys can do something like that, it would be
exactly
because it's really about giving. It's not about receiving, unless you're bottom. But it's about giving.
Exactly. Well, and there's a lot of people that do. They do the you can gift a goat. I think Arthur says him and Liz do that. You can gift a goat or fresh water to people that are in undeveloped countries or cities and stuff. And there's lots of ways you can do things that help people out. And just as much as it's fun to get the presents or to see your family opening their presents, think about some other people that maybe don't have anybody.
Absolutely.
Or suffering, suffering at that moment in time. So it's sad. Merry Christmas. Don't get too drunk, Arthur.
Oh, that's already on. It's game on.
You too, Cynthia Whitestone. Drink your mimosas and your sangrias.
Excuse me, that's not a white drink. Vodka, that's it.
And we'll be back, I assume. I mean, I'm not coming here on Christmas morning or Christmas evening for a show, but we'll probably be back on Wednesday. So have a good week and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.